While we clear this, because our next is the great debate on the role of leadership in the early years. So we're going to quickly just invite, once we set up the place, I think we'll just set it up. Yeah. So while this is getting set up, just quickly, a lot of people were with us in the morning. Any questions that stood out for you? Anybody had any questions that we felt, or okay, let's do this. Everybody's heard about 2 stars and a wish. Okay, so that's a strategy. 2 stars since morning and a wish for ECC. Anybody would like to share 2 stars? Maybe 1 star, 2 stars, and a wish. Anybody? Okay, so this is a strategy you can go back and use even in your classrooms. So maybe at the end of a session, you can ask the kids, what were the 2 stars? What did you really like learning about? And what's one wish that you still have? So that's again, check for understanding. So from morning, you've been through a lot of sessions. Let's hear of some stars and a wish that you still have, which we can take back and put down that for the next event or the conference. Anything you felt that is on the agenda, is a wish that you wish this was there and I could hear more about it? Right. That's true. That's true. Right. Okay. Sure. No, that's a wish definitely going to take back, yeah, because I think a lot of people are feeling that the same, that they are not able to attend the other tracks. Anything else? Any other wish? Questions that we can take back even to the white paper that's going to be done?
Or any questions on whatever you heard from the morning,
yes.
and anything that you felt really piqued your interest and you want to explore further.
Right. So I think we're going back to the fishbowl that we spoke in the morning. Yeah. I think with the growing, families which are nuclear, yes. Sure.
But I think that's one thing that's generating a lot of debate.
Debate,
The
yes.
half a day versus the
The
full
half
day.
I put
Yeah.
a couple of questions down already, which came up in the morning. Anybody had any other thoughts that? Right. I think it's all about, I think it depends on where you are. And I think one, yes. There's no time for co-curriculars and specialists.
I mean, I know from a pedagogical basis, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Please. Please. We have another mic on that side? Oh, okay. I'm going to pass this out. Okay, good afternoon again. I think after that hands-on power pack session, going back to being children, I think we'll probably spend the next 20 minutes or so becoming adults again, and thinking about what it means to wear the role, what it means to wear the hat of a leader in an early years setting, and what are some important things for us to think about, to munch on, and I think we have some wonderful speakers here. Let me just set the context, and just before you start responding, if you could just introduce yourself with your name and your very quick experience on what it means for you to be a leader in a early years setting, and then you could perhaps respond to the question. So what we're hoping to do is to go through 3 formats in the over the next 20 minutes. So in the first format, we'll have a generic discussion response from some or all of you, depending on time. And then in the second format, we'll make it a little power packed with a rapid fire response. So in a rapid fire, you get only 40 seconds to respond. So a really quick. Absolutely. Yeah. And then in the third format, what we'll do, like a thumbs up, thumbs down. So we'll have something to talk about. If there's a thumbs up on that area in an early years setup, what do you think we should be doing more of? And if it's a thumbs down, what should we do less of? Okay, I'll repeat the format again if required when we go through. So essentially, I think why this is important for us to talk about is when we think of a K-12 sector, and I think this is something one of the other speakers spoke about also in the morning. We tend to think of leadership being something that's very important in a middle school, high school level, because the stakes are higher. Children are going away into board exams. There's the next phase of life coming up. It's college. We tend to think of it very much from that standpoint. But actually where it all begins is with the little ones. And that's where there is a lot of scope for us as leaders also to be thinking about how do we create that culture, how do we set that vision, how do we make it more inclusive, where do we build that equity so that we are having actually an early years environment perhaps even become a context for the entire K-12 setting itself. Yeah. So one of the things that would be lovely to hear is on, because we are really talking about a space where there can be a lot of collaboration and working together and all of that. That's obviously very important for the staff first to demonstrate. So in your opinion, what do you think is the role of emotional intelligence, and where do you see that as a leader, and how would you sort of build that culture in your own organizations?
So should I go
Yes,
ahead?
you could begin,
So
please,
yeah,
Anjali.
hello, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Anjali, I'm from Delhi, and hello everyone. I'm Anjali, I'm from Delhi, and like why I chose to be here, or like why early childhood education, because it's something which is very close to my heart. I really enjoy working with little children. So that is what their energy, their vibrance, colorfulness, innocence, and everything. So yes, when it comes to maybe emotional intelligence, I'll say like these learners, they step out from their houses for the very first time, and they spend the first 5 years of their life in school. So I think it's very important that we take care of the socio-emotional question in the childhood learning, early childhood learning. So I would just say that because it helps them, like maybe it has a long-term impact over the period of life on their educational attainments also. So it's very important that they first of all love coming to the school and they enjoy coming to the school. So that is one thing. And like when maybe like as a leader, when you are there with the teachers and facilitators, so I think it's the same way that goes with them also, because when they are in the classroom, they are also like a kid only with them, because you, like a early childhood teacher, has to like dance, like they are somebody who like have to do wear multiple hats and be with children like them. So yeah, I think so as a leader, we definitely ensure that we give them that emotional safety to them also, take care of their well-being also. And so you generally, what we, some of the practices that we follow at my school is usually there are some classroom observations that happen. So what we generally like, so we call it classroom participation, and we encourage our teachers themselves to come to the, maybe their supervisor or their leaders, to come and maybe visit our classrooms, and so that they don't feel it like as somebody is there to maybe look at them with that perspective. So giving that emotional safety, then ensuring that you give them a good feedback and feed forward. So it's like a sandwich feedback and quick actionables for them to maybe do better as a teacher. And yeah, that is
Sure.
what
I mean,
would-
thank you. If I can just quickly hop across to Mr. Rathor. And Anjali had shared about a couple of things to do with what would you do in terms of teacher observation and how can you promote well-being in that. Now, outside of the fact of giving them professional learning, input back on what they are delivering in the classrooms, what would you suggest, sir, needs to be done to take care of teacher well-being, particularly in a early childhood setting? Because quite a few people said, तो बच्चे तो चले जाते हैं 1 बजे, but the teachers are there till 3 o'clock. There is a lot of work. So what would you suggest?
Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is SK Rathor. I am founder, chairman and MD of Sanford Group of Schools. We have nearly 270 preschool, primary school and 10+2 schools in India, Nepal and Bangladesh. So we are into early childhood education for more than 24 years now. And we are not running behind the numbers. We are trying to promote the quality early childhood education in the country and in neighboring countries. So see, the profession which we are in, this is the most difficult and most valuable thing what we can do for a human being. See, we are working for the foundations, founding years of the children, and this is the duty of me and everybody who is working in any capacity in any early childhood setup. So the most difficult part of this field is we don't find trained early childhood staff, teachers, aunties. No one is there in the market who are market बोल रहा हूँ तो society आप समझ लीजिए, because I am a business person, so I can use these kind of words. So it is very difficult to find out trained teachers, trained aunties, even trained guards, because any guard cannot work in the early childhood setup, because the guard also have to he is the first person to interact with the child when the child enters in the school. So what we do and what every early childhood center need to do the rigorous training of the teachers, rigorous training of the maids and the guard, because these children had to be handled differently. जो हम 10+2 में या प्राइमरी स्कूल में जो करते हैं वो हम इन बच्चों के साथ नहीं कर सकते. And I am listening since morning. I am sitting here only. So academic की बहुत सारी बातें हुई हैं. What academic we are doing for the early childhood education? No academic is required. Only learning is required. मैं जब भी फ्रेंचाइजिंग के लिए बात करता हूँ या कोई आई कांट टेक इवन ए सिंगल एडमिशन करना मुझे नहीं आता है, तो वो आप लोग अच्छा कर सकते हैं. बट जो भी प्ले स्कूल ये बोलता है कि हम बहुत अच्छी एकेडमिक कराते हैं, तो उससे बेकार प्ले स्कूल कोई हो ही नहीं सकता. प्ले स्कूल का मतलब हम अच्छा सिखाते हैं. वी डोंट टीच, वी मेक चाइल्ड लर्न इन द प्ले का मतलब ही यही है. अगर एकेडमिक की बात कर रहे हैं तो एकेडमिक ऑटोमेटिकली हो रहा है वो.
So if I can just interject. So you raised a very valid point. Early learning, the focus needs to be on play. So how would you, and you also raised a very valid point that getting trained staff, whether this is teaching staff or non-teaching staff, is a huge challenge. So what are one or two things that you've done to ensure this training is there?
So I tell you what we have developed over a period of time, because initially even we didn't understand कि कैसे किया जाए. 24 years back it was very difficult to make even the parent understand why should they send their children to a preschool. So over a period of time, what we have tried to develop, and we are successful in that part also. So we have developed a core team of trainers, in-house trainers, and they do rigorous training of the teachers. They travels a lot across the country in different cities. Whether it is single school cities where single Sanford is there, I send my trainers to train the teacher, and whenever they travel, they train the teachers as well as the support staff both. Another thing, now we are coming into rural area also. So in many of the part, it is very difficult to send the trainers also, because transportation is not there, accommodation is not there for the travelers. In that case, we have developed our modules, digital platform, so that they can access any time, and they can raise their queries, and my trainer come online and answer their queries. So we have to find out the solution. And one major problem is now, as the early childhood education is a part of main school education after the NEP comes into force from this session in major part of the country. So now every village will have the preschool education, maybe Anganwadi or any private school. So we have to open schools there, preschools there, from where the teacher will come. When the city we are not finding good play school teacher, then how will we find one in the villages? So again, we need to, what we do, we pick up the best out of the teachers what we can get, and again do the rigorous training. The kind of training we are doing in the cities, we have to invest much more time on those girls or those ladies who are coming forward for their preschool education. So this is the only way to produce good teachers for the preschool. No other way what I have come across.
Sure. So what you're essentially saying is that make training an agenda, a very important agenda, and evolve it according to what your needs are. Yeah, thank you. If I can hop across to Mr. Pritam, right? There's a lot of conversation today world across in education about DEIBJ, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, justice. So, I mean, as an, as somebody who's been a leader for many years, heard your lovely story in the morning during the fishbowl, what do you think is the role of a leader in promoting equity and inclusion in early learning environments?
Being in Bangalore, which is again a multi-language, multicultural city, right? I will be very true to myself and on this stage that we all talk about inclusions, but it's very difficult sometimes in the classrooms. And I really do not have these practices. Rather I speak to the parent, I'll try to make them understand that my setup is not meant for this facility, and they need some special intervention and training for the same, and we really refer to them to the next available resources or practices which is happening. But there are certain things we can definitely do it at our own setups, right? If it's a special children, we definitely refer them to a different locations. But if you see, trust me, as we run almost 900 centers across the nation, Bangalore is a city where you get one classroom where two is speaking Hindi, one is speaking Telugu, one is speaking Malayalam, one is speaking Tamil. It's very difficult to understand and address the diverse, because when we talk about small children, we are taking children 2.5 years, and we need to understand their language first, rather than it's English and we talk about English to them, which is very something new sometimes, right? So in terms of that equity of understanding on inclusions, when we are hiring teachers, we need to understand that what kind of teacher I require in this setup. That is one. Second thing is there are a lot of cultural differences in these cities, right? People from different background, culture, caste, creeds, right? Different, anyway, all schools do that, but I have a lot of personal experiences to share, which is, I think this time will not be enough to share, where somebody comes from a different society, says that please don't do this thing in your school and do not do this thing. So it's very challenging for a leader to make the parent understand that this is a school setup. Let's not talk about or debate something in a school setup, that why you do this festival or you don't do this, why we should not do this thing in your setup. So making challenging, and which I feel as an early childhood educator, that when we are really talking to these children, we know that they'll be next 20-25 years they'll be trained for what we are training them. But making the parent understand about this equality, inclusion, right, is very important, and for that parent workshop is required. If we understand, it's fine. We are working with children, it's fine. But who has to understand is the parent, why I'm doing these practices and why I'm not doing these practices is very important.
What you're essentially saying is, as a school, be clear about your offering first. What you can do, what you cannot, where the limits of what you have stops. And while I think DIBJ is a huge thing, and as educators, we do need to start thinking about this if we have to build a more inclusive society. I think we sort of just on that foray
plenty
into
of sorrow experiences. Even it exists today. Even in 2024, we are here right now. Parent is the issue right now. Yeah. Teachers, somebody talking about this, we can understand it because I'm a teacher. Every student is mine, but these differences are coming from the parent side.
absolutely, and that's why tomorrow we have a lovely session on how do we build communities with parents, because like you very rightly say, I think we all recognize that that's a very important stakeholder to engage with, and there's no point looking at this as like we are on the opposite sides. So how do we build that community with parents? Yeah, I think there's lots of further questions I want to ask on the basis of what you responded, but unfortunately for want of time, we're going to move into that second segment, which is rapid fire. So just remember that it's just 40 seconds for that really quick response, okay? So one key challenge faced by leaders in early learning today, and can we have Rathor sir answer that?
So as Pritam said, parents के बारे में है ना, तो most difficult part today is to make the parent understand what their duties are. What our duties are, we know, we are delivering. Everybody sitting here who are working for early childhood education, they are doing fantastic job. But today parent wanted to outsource the parenting, which is very difficult.
Very, very nicely said. Lots of nods around the room, so you can see that there's a huge show of support when you say that. Involving getting parents to understand is a huge challenge. And Anjali, if you can just come across to you, what is one quality, in your opinion, that every leader in an early childhood setting must have and must demonstrate?
I think empathy is something which every leader must have, and top it or garnish it with love for children. I think that is what is needed.
Okay, thank you. You obviously enjoy cooking, huh? You. Thank you. If we can just hop across to Mr. Pritam, yeah? One innovative practice that you have implemented either in some or all of your centers.
I was trying to speak in the morning, but I got a different story onto that part. But let me give me some 60 seconds. That we were talking about some 5 minutes for each children in the classroom. How to make it to 60 minutes in the same classroom setup is very, very important. क्या किया, कैसे किया, कब किया, किसके साथ किया, क्या खाया, क्या पिया, क्या सोया. If we all talk about this thing in that 30 minutes of the session, and we are talking to the 10-12 children in the classroom, what the other children is speaking and what the other children is listening can do more than your writing and reading in your classroom, and that should be the classroom of a preschooler. We really do not need all these resources at times, but when we are sharing our experiences, I got up in the morning, I had a breakfast with my mother, I had idli, I had dosa, I went to supermarket. The whole story talks about all your knowledge part of the curriculum. And that 30 minutes of how, when, with whom will give you the delivery of that learning process in the small children. And that should be the preschool curriculum.
Lovely. So you're saying making time for that personal connections in the classroom is that one top innovative practice.
Yes. Morning we were talking about that it is only a teacher delivering to the student. No, it is child sharing his experience.
Listening to the child and then
the other
responding.
I just wanted to add. See, in my system, we have a free talk time every Monday. So Saturday, Sunday बच्चों ने क्या किया, कहाँ घूमने गए, मम्मी ने पापा को डांटा या पापा ने मम्मी को डांटा, क्या खाया, तो पूरी स्टोरी बच्चे आपस में मतलब टीचर्स के साथ शेयर करते हैं, तो वो आपस में भी सुन रहे होते हैं. तो टीचर शुड अलाउ द चिल्ड्रन टू टॉक फ्रीली विद ईच अदर. ये फॉर्मल स्कूल नहीं है कि मुंह पे उंगली लगा के बैठ जाओ. तो ये दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर सिस्टम. वी हैव मेड इट एज पार्ट ऑफ आवर लर्निंग सिस्टम सेवरल ईयर्स बैक.
Sure, please.
Since we are talking about the expression, so what we also do is like lot of things like maybe which are not to be assessed, which are just maybe expressed by the child. So even if they like, if we ask the child to draw the picture of family and the child has maybe just made a circle out of it, so that is also maybe something as acceptable. And like we tend that everyone is not copying something from the board and making it. The children are allowed to express themselves.
Lovely. And I think Akshul spoke this morning at the main stage about assessment as learning. So I love for that to happen. Lovely, very, very beautiful responses. We'll quickly go through that last segment. So I will just share one phrase and then request one of you. If I'm showing a thumbs up, you need to tell us what is it more of that we should be doing as early learning leaders. If I put a thumbs down, then you have to tell us what is it that we need to stop doing as early learning leaders in that particular area. And Anjali, if I can begin with you, use of technology.
So yeah, I think we shouldn't be using technology so much. I feel that the children at this age, like what ma'am was also sharing, so they should be exploring what's right there actually. So a lot of hands-on learning is what I feel should be there. The children should mess around. There should be a messy play, everything. Though it takes a lot of time also and effort also from the teacher's end.
And 9 to 12 is not enough.
Yeah,
I can see that on her face.
It's not enough. I also feel that same way. So yes, so I think technology is something which we can take up maybe later in the years. So it should be more and more hands-on learning.
So allow children to explore the natural world more and reduce the usage of perhaps these screens.
Lot of all those things.
We cannot ignore the use of technology.
Absolutely, sir.
So there should be limited
correct.
time to use the
Correct. So just to
Technology
clarify,
can be used by the teachers and the
absolutely,
in the setup
and even the
itself, so
children
that
can
helps
use it
them.
a little bit.
Yeah, can also use
but
it.
since the question was about what should we do less of, I think that's yeah. Okay. So Mr. Pritam, if we can look at recruitment and teacher training, what should we do more of?
More and more possibilities, man. As even Rathor has said the same thing. Even we do have almost 70 odd trainings. It is very difficult to train the huge number of teachers, and again their presence on that particular day after the school hours. Saturdays you cannot call them, Sundays you cannot call them, you cannot send them to a different conferences, right? So extended it should be more and more, and it should be delivery kind of training where it is they understand that what I need to deliver, because they are not so polished to understand that what I need to do exactly in that situation, right? So that, and as Rathor sir said, there is no qualified teachers as such, because we do not have universities who are giving early childhood care and education as a subject, right? So then it will be very polished that in these 20 topics, whatever we are doing it in preschools, this should be the learning outcomes which we are expecting from the children, and to deliver that, this is that. And for that, I request every early childhood educator that whoever is designing your curriculum, right, the similar people should train it also. Somebody else is designing a curriculum, somebody else is doing a training, and somebody else is assessing the child. It is very, very unethical to understand it. So sometimes we need to slowly let's see that the assessment where teacher is involved into curriculum making, the teacher is involved into planning and do the resources also. So then only it is effective, otherwise no.
If I can just paraphrase, what you're saying is that align your resource planning so that the people who are creating the curriculum are the ones who are delivering the training, and also ensure that your training is very clear and actionable, and it has to be practical.
I'll tell you about, I'm a part of a curriculum making for Government of India, where they are doing a curriculum for Anganwadi teachers, those who are 10th fail. There you go and talk about multiple intelligence, this and that, it doesn't work. उनको यही बताना है कि ABCD पढ़ाना कैसे है, 1 to 10 कैसे पढ़ाना है, टॉयलेट जाए तो कैसे हैंड वॉश करना है, वो चीज़ आपको डिटेलिंग में बोलना पड़ेगा. वहाँ पे आप थ्योरी 10 पेज का दे दोगे, इट डजंट वर्क. सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट हु इज डिलीवरिंग, what is the standard of their understanding, and to whom they are delivering it.
So tailor your training according to who your audience is. Yeah. Thank you. It was very, very nicely said. And the final question to you, Mr. Rathor, since you spoke about the largest challenge today being parents. I would say family and engagement of families, and what should we be doing more of?
See, as I said, every Monday is free talk day in our branches. So children share their family experience on the Monday, and on the basis of that, we plan our workshop content. What kind of, because there's many issues which are common in most of the families today. So we do extensive and frequent parenting workshops. I travels a lot. I didn't do business now because my children has taken over. So I do workshops only. Workshop for the parents, workshop for the teachers, workshop for the franchisees. So I travels a lot. I do the workshop. So in those workshops, I try to make them understand. वर्कशॉप मतलब जैसे अभी मैडम ने वर्कशॉप किया, दिस वाज द वर्कशॉप, है ना. हम जो बोल रहे हैं तो एक स्पीच है, तो आई डोंट डू द स्पीच. I create a situation and try to make them understand from the situation what kind of experience their children are having and what kind of role they have to play. So this is the only way, make them realize what responsibilities are yours. You can outsource the education of the children, you cannot outsource the parenting, because you are the parent, you better understand your child, and you can do what anybody cannot do for your child. So that we they know. हर पेरेंट जानता है कि मुझे क्या करना है, बट वो उनको याद दिलाने की ज़रूरत है बस. तो हम लोग वही करते रहते हैं, पेरेंट्स को स्टेक होल्डर बनाते हैं. दूसरा क्या, अभी रिसेंटली लास्ट ईयर ओनली वी स्टार्टेड इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ मदर्स इन द क्लासरूम. So when the children come at the age of 2 or less than 2, then we ask the mothers to join in the classroom for a week or 10 days or 15 days, whatever they feel. So during that period, they understand what kind of work teacher has to do doing in the classroom. One thing. Second thing, they understand how the education is happening in the preschool setup, what they can expect from the preschool, what they have to do at the home with the child. In the 3 hours, madam said very well, but we don't have any option because they are so little. They are so little. We need to understand, because in the early childhood setup, child should be at the center. We cannot make child sit in or play in the classroom continuously for 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours.
I don't buy this point that they are small, because we are expecting a 3-year-old child to come and sit for 3 years, 3 hours.
हाँ.
So why not a 4-year class and 5 years to one and till 1 o'clock or 1 and a half?
तो केजी के बच्चे तो 4 घंटे बैठते ही हैं.
This is 9 to 12 का ही
वो आपका स्कूल को ठीक करना पड़ेगा. नहीं, आपके स्कूल को ठीक करना पड़ेगा, हमारे स्कूल में नहीं है. हमारे प्ले ग्रुप प्री नर्सरी इज फॉर 3 hours एंड नर्सरी केजी इज फॉर 3.5 and 4 hours. सो उनको पता लगना चाहिए कि क्या उनके रोल्स हैं. सो whenever we plan any activity in the school, maybe it's annual day event or any big event, in that case we send the videos to the mothers, fathers, practice कराओ घर पे. तो हम उनको स्टेक होल्डर बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं, तो फिर भी प्रॉब्लम तो है.
Of course, we are ridden with problems always, and I think that's why we need leaders to start thinking of innovative solutions. But thank you, this has been a wonderful conversation, and I think some large takeaways, at least from my perspective, and I'm sure people here will add on to it, is that we need to start looking at this in a very stakeholder engagement format, and that really is the role of the leadership, not look at aspects in silos. Teacher training needs to be contextual, needs to be something that's relevant, engaging, and adaptive to the needs of where the people really are, and through all of this, continue to keep the child at the center.
And one more thing, one more thing I wanted to add: preschool teachers deserves more respect and more salaries.
Absolutely, which is a really huge systemic issue.
And this also parent need to understand, because they never negotiate when they go for the 10+2 admission. Whatever the school asks, लाख रुपया मांगेगा तो लाख देंगे. ये बैठी हैं साथ में ये. because her school is just next to my house. तो नहीं मैं मजाक कर रहा हूँ. But ये कि K-12 में whenever the parent visit the desired K-12 school, they'll pay whatever the school asks. They'll pay the transport charges 5,000 rupees. They'll pay 15,000 rupees as the tuition fee. But when they visit the desired preschool, desired, again I am using the desired word, then again they'll negotiate with the preschool people. They need to understand if they want
quality, then
quality early learning of their child, then the teacher need to be paid well.
Absolutely. And I think the whole problem is like a connected web of issues, because you need to first understand that early learning is important. So I know we could go on, but we really have to conclude and stop at this point, because we have a wonderful session with Abhirami next, talking about early intervention and how do we look at this as early educators, early learning educators. Yeah, Mahira, if you could do the honors. Thank you so much. And if we can just have a lovely round of applause to our panelists this afternoon.